Become a channel member and support the content. You also get access to exclusive videos. You'll get an emote next to your name in the comments. The link for that can be found next to the subscribe button or in the description. And beat the random lottery that is FIFA points by buying the coins direct from u7buy.com. Use code TVM at checkout for a 5% discount, or if you're a new customer, get 8% discount. The link is down below. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're looking at the Ligue 1 League Player 2 objective, which is for, of course, Benedetto. Wasn't really expecting anything like this to come out. I thought they may go through other leagues, but we've had a second player from the French league. First of which, of course, was Mollet. I think it was an 86 rated card. It was released what feels like ages ago now. In fact, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the very first objective card that we actually got for FIFA 21. But now we've been given an 88 rated striker. Mollet was 86, wasn't he? So they've only really gone up by 2 overall to this Benedetto. But still, either way, let's dive into the first couple of things you're going to need to do. As you can see, I've already completed it myself. I did it last night, the review for him with gameplay and whether I think he's worth doing based on, you know, my findings during gameplay will be out probably a couple of hours after this, but I thought I'd go through the objective with you, and I think I might do this more often. It's going to be a lot easier, not a lot easier, but a lot more interesting for things like the academy style objectives if we ever get any more of those type of ones. It'll be a lot more interesting to do for those, but I thought I'd go through the requirements, how long it would take you, and whether I think, just based off stats alone, and whether this guy is actually better than the majority of cards or certain cards on the market or not, whether it's worth your time. So the main one, and this is going to be the one that will probably take you the longest to do, is going to be win 15 matches using only Ligue 1 players in the starting 11. That is a lot. Now, for some people who may be able to glide through matches without any difficulty whatsoever, maybe you're that good at the game, or maybe you face people who like to do the one goal quit thing. I faced a few, not many. PC players are completely different to console. I'm not saying we're more mature or anything, but you get people on PC who are willing to fight until the very end of the game. The other part of this, of course, is that yes, you need to win 15, but you also need to score a lot of goals and you need to get a lot of assists. So win 15 matches is going to take you the longest time, in my opinion, because you're not going to win 15 in a row. For the most part, anyway. I mean, obviously, like I said, some people may do, but the majority of us, we're not going to win 15 in a row. I didn't do it. Not that I'm saying you can't, but you know what I mean. Score 30 goals. Now, this is the one that I think these two, the wins and the scoring prowess, are the two that may take you. One of them will take a little bit longer than the other, and I'm not sure which way it'll go. So if you score 2 goals average every win, you'll get it done. But at the same time, so long as you don't quit matches, you will get this done before you pick up the wins more than likely. Unless you are going into every game and somehow in 15 games in a row, you manage to score first and your opponent quits, then you have a problem and you just need to go and get another 15 goals. I would imagine for pro players, that would be a bit of an issue because you'd go in, you'd completely blitz them, and then, yeah, you'd have a bit of an issue because you'd have to go and play another 15 games and score another 15 goals. But the majority of us not going to have that problem. So scoring 30 will average out to 2 goals per win. But of course, like I said, so long as you don't quit games, even the ones you lose, you will end up scoring a few goals here or there. So you should get that done. Assist 20. Most goals come from assists unless they are rebounds, which, to be fair, there are a fair share of those. But given the fact you need 15 wins, I would imagine you would hit this without even thinking about it. I didn't think about it, it just happened. The next one on the list is going to be score outside of the box goal using Ligue 1 players in 4 separate matches. Now, you don't need to win this. So I suppose my best advice would be, when building your team, because this is Managerial Masterpiece, right? So we'll have a look at a team option in just a second. Managerial Masterpiece means that you can only have a 77 rated team. I faced a lot of people using Mbappe, which there's nothing wrong with. The problem with using Mbappe is because he's so high rated, he will offset the balance of the entire team, meaning that your team is pretty poor in certain areas, and most people skimp on the goalkeeper. So, and if your opponent helps you out, I think my opponent helped me once, in the entire thing, and he moved his goalkeeper when I was on the edge of the area. Like, he didn't do it just a little bit, he literally moved him off the line, out of the 6-yard box, and allowed me to score. I was losing the game, and he just let me do that, so fair play to him. So if your opponent lets you do it, happy days. If not, you'll notice that most people you play against will have low-rated goalkeepers. So long as you give the ball to your best player, go for a finesse on the strongest foot, just outside the penalty area. Don't worry about timing it, not a problem. Honestly, you will score more than you think because the goalkeepers are just not that good. People will try and use Mbappe's, Neymar's, and they won't care too much about the rest of their team. They'll just try and abuse that one player. And their goalkeepers are going to be absolutely trash, and the defenders are going to be so slow and useless that they won't be able to block it as well. You'll get the odd person who doesn't use Mbappe and will have a very well-rounded team, but for the most part, you should be able to score outside the area. And then, of course, you knock off this one as well. If you do an outside-of-the-box finesse shot against a poor goalkeeper with a good player, not only have you got a very good chance of scoring, but you'll knock off these two at the same time. These two can be a little bit on the trickier side, and that is where maybe you'll get hung up on it. I don't think you should worry too much. Focus on the wins and focus on... Well, just focus on the wins first and foremost. The goals and the assists should come. And then this is something that you can do... Either, maybe you go 2-3-0 up in a game, you got 20 minutes left in the game, you feel, right, I've won this, so just not do anything stupid. Every time you get into a decent shooting position, go for a timed, or not timed, but go for a finesse from outside the, just outside the area with your best player. That is when these will get knocked off, and that's exactly what I did. First game, I got too hung up on it. I think the game finished 1-0 to me, which, was good because I got the win. I didn't get the assist, unfortunately, but I did get the win. It finished 1-0, and I played the full game because my opponent didn't quit, but every single chance I had, I was just trying to score an outside-of-the-box finesse shot, and I could not do it because he had a decent, I say decent, he had like an 82 rated goalkeeper, which is questionable, but obviously he was hoping that I wasn't, I don't know, just trying to stop me from scoring long range efforts maybe? I'm not really sure. Either way, I could have scored 4, 5, 6 goals in that game, maybe made him quit and got through it a bit quicker, but I got so hung up on trying to score the goal, I lost sight of what was really important, which was the wins. If you go for the wins first, these two will come hand in hand with the wins, and then anything you have left at the end, you can mop up by just going into a game. If you feel like your opponent's too good, maybe just leave and go into another game. Make sure that you give your opponent the win, because there's no use being, toxic about it. If you go into a game and you think, oh, my opponent's too good here, and it's 0-0, or maybe you've won all and you can't be bothered to do it because you don't think you're going to get an outside-of-the-box goal, and you do plan on leaving, just give your opponent the win. Anyway, let's have a look at this let's have a little look. English sometimes is difficult. So have a little look at the stats here. So I played one game of rivals with him. I played a lot of friendlies. High-low work rates are very good. 5-star skills, nice. 3-star skill moves. I'm going to go into more detail in the review itself, which is going to be out, like I said, in a couple of hours. But skill moves definitely a problem. In terms of the stats, I mean, on paper, it's good, but it's not fantastic. So positioning, finishing, shot power, all top notch. I mean, you're not going to get much higher than that unless you go for the top players. So that is good set of stats. Acceleration and sprint speed could be higher. We have chem styles. We can make them 90 plus easy. That's fine. Composure, fantastic. Agility and balance could definitely be higher because he's 5'10", so it's a good height, but his agility and balance will let him down on paper. Will that make a difference in game? You'll have to watch the review to find out. And then, of course, he has very good strength. He's fantastic in the air, according to the stats, and his jumping is just as good. So in terms of how good he actually is on paper and whether I think he would be worth doing without really having the knowledge of playing with him, I would say that, I mean, it obviously is going to come down to the time that you have here, because this will take you anywhere between 3.5 to about 5 hours. If you can get it done straight away and you get some rage quits along the way, yeah, it's going to be quite quick. It's if you get the early goal here or there, maybe in 4 or 5 games to pick up 4 or 5 wins, and they leave after you score the first goal, maybe you get it in the first 15 minutes, that is a lot of time saved. There will be some games where you are drawing 0-0, losing 1-0, drawing 1-1, whatever it may be, and the game will go down to the wire, and you will end up losing the game, and you've not wasted your time because you've still got a goal or two, or maybe you've lost 1-0 and therefore you have wasted your time, but you'll get the odd game that does that. So on average, between 3.5 and 5 hours, depending on your Well, how good you are at the game, I guess. Your skill level. Is it worth it? Like I said, for me personally, I do it for content. Would I have done this if I wasn't creating content? Probably not. However, having used him, I am very glad I've done him. He's very good. He does have issues, but I do really like him in game. I think he is a decent player. The question is going to be, does he fit your team? And if the answer is yes, and he's an improvement over the current player, stats-wise, maybe add 5% because he is better than his stats suggest, in my opinion. The skill moves will let you down slightly, but for me, I think it could be worth the time you do in this objective. I think you will have to time manage, though, between this and things like champs, icon swaps and such, but of course that's going to come down to personal preference. And there we have it. Let me know what you think of the video, and of course the card. Are you going to unlock it? Maybe you've started already. How far have you gotten? And if you have unlocked it already because you are crazy, let me know what you think of him in the comments. If you have enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for new, and until the next time, goodbye.
Join the Betting Rebellion and find out what your football knowledge is really worth.